Participants one, is that just you?
Yeah, some of the bigger library.
Yes, let's hear them.
Here's Pine Place Library. Comes back from back. So, I guess these are considered housing. And this is one of your.
See how to control it after this?
What's that?
We're live, so we're ready to go whenever you want.
Okay, sure.
Is she coming or is she gonna?
I also.
No, I don't.
See what I.
No, I haven't played. I haven't seen it. Say this
From the beginning.
We have to wait.
Hi. Oh, good. Okay. Oh, wait.
Are you here for the program?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
you look so familiar.
Yeah, the Killer Bruto.
I know that.
So.
Oh, have a seat.
Yeah, just dropping on set, writing contest.
But what's the point of
How have you been?
Good, how about you?
Oh, we got all those projects now.
Oh, it's fine. It's okay.
All right. Back resources.
Okay.
And that's all the same
Nice.
Right.
Oh, this is your.
Oh, we need to make sure we're sharing screen.
Where's that from? I wanna do some notes.
I am not very good at this. Let's see. Share. Share. There we go.
Here.
There we go. Then. Here. Slideshow, beginning.
Oh, don't worry about it.
There we go. You wanna sit on the other side, maybe?
Are you gonna hear? Sure.
Yeah.
Whatever works for you.
Better view there. I'm glad you came. It's always nice to see you.
Yeah. Last time I saw you was at the garden tour
Oh, yeah,
that,
by Clinton.
yeah,
Yeah.
with Steve.
Yeah. All right. Have you had everything you need yet?
You know, one year they ate all my dahlias.
No.
Oh,
This year they're not bothering them. It's, I don't know, they did eat my chamomile though.
Really?
Yeah.
Enjoy my hostas.
Oh, yeah, that's.
Oh, I don't,
We'll go over that.
Yeah.
So this is at my former house in Clinton, and this garden is not fenced.
Okay.
Deer walk through it, you know, it's open, they browse, and this was trial and error to do this. The other part of this garden is these trees are black walnut trees, and it's very difficult to grow something around black walnut
Yeah.
trees because they have a toxic chemical in the soil, which prevents a lot of plants from growing. I could never get poppies to grow in this garden. So this is the same garden, you know, we saw the street side, this is from the top looking down and from the bottom looking up. And, you know, there were lots of deer on my property in Clinton, so everything here, they didn't touch. And some plants like hostas, love this, are deer candy, and they're, you know, when I was in Clinton, I had a huge bed of hostas. The first 5 years, I never had a problem with deer. But one morning I got up and my hostas looked like the plant on the right. And I got annoyed and ripped them all out and started to figure out what else I could put in there that they're not gonna touch. So the phantom gardener, the previous phantom gardener, told me deer do not like anything that are blue and gray. And I thought he was crazy to tell me that, but it is true. They don't like plants that have a scent, so any of the herbs they don't like. Ornamental grasses they won't touch, they don't like ferns, they don't like herbs, they won't bother native plants. And even though there are some rules, some deer may break the rules. In Clinton, I had a wine barrel at the end of my driveway with marigolds every year. 1 year, they ate all the marigolds.
Wow.
So, and each year Mohawk Mountain House used to, I don't know if they still do, they had a deer resistant plant list. and each year it got edited smaller. So, you know, their browsing patterns changed a little bit. So some of the things that you can plant, you know, you don't have to give up. You can have a lot of stuff. You can do snowdrops and crocuses. They'll leave those alone, which is nice bulbs. They also won't touch in the spring daffodils. And there's a lot of varieties of daffodils. The plants on the right side of the screen are alliums, which are the onion family. And there's tons of variety. So if you go to Adams or any other garden center in the fall, you can pick a lot of different color alliums. There's white ones, pink ones, blue ones, like the pretty ones that have the pink and white on them. And I try to get a variety of daffodils, like miniature ones. And besides, you know, pink in the inside, just to make it a little more interesting, and they won't touch them. When I took out my hostas,
There, that's surprising, you know.
We can,
Yeah.
yeah, that.
I replaced where I had the hostas, I put pulmonaria in. And which is a plant on the left-hand side of the screen. The Carey Institute on Route 44A in front of Gifford House, along the stone wall, they had an entire bed of pulmonaria, which looks great. It's in April and it blooms with these little tiny pink and purple flowers. And if you let them go to seed, they'll reseed everywhere. There's different colored foliage of the pulmonaria. This one is speckled, but I also have one that's called gray, where the leaves are all one solid white color.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, right. And they do spread. The plant on the right-hand side is Brunera, and that will spread too. And they're all shade plants, and they grow very well in the shade. And if you let them go to seed, you know, the flowers go to seed, they will spread.
I can't
Okay,
even.
next slide.
And they like, you don't have to have rich soil.
I have to get.
So I'm not paying $100 in their plant.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Yes, okay.
We weren't on that screen.
All right. Right here, like, so the gray plants on the left are lamb's ears. And they get kind of runners, they will spread out. Lamb's ears are great, hummingbirds, butterflies, hummingbird moths, bees, they all like lamb's ears. And after those stalks are done blooming, you just cut them back. The plant on the right is called Rosa campium, and it comes in either white, which is harder to find, or pink. And they look like lamb's ears, but they have a different kind of stem, a more petite looking stem with the flowers. And again, if you let them go to seed, they'll spread too. And the deer will not touch these at all. For annuals, wax begonias, and I was always under the impression wax begonias had to be in the shade.
Yeah.
When I worked at the Cooperative Extension in Millbrook, they were on the wall on Route 44, right behind or in front of the brick wall in the hot sun. We hardly ever watered them and they did fine.
Wow.
And you don't really have to deadhead wax begonias, because they're like little workhorses. So wax begonias are great, and as you can see from this bouquet, they have maroon leaves and green leaves and 3 different color flowers. Zinnias are another standard, and I always plant zinnias straight from the seed packet in the ground.
Yes.
You know, they germinate. This year they germinated in 6 days.
Yes.
And they're great. You just deadhead them. There's so many different varieties. The one on this one on the right hand side, I love this. I get it every year. It's called candy cane. It looks like a paintbrush speckled the petals.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So they're another choice that you can make for annuals. The other ones are cleomes are on the left. They do smell. So if you don't want to put them underneath your window,
You mean smell badly?
they have kind of an odor.
Huh.
Not really that obnoxious, but they do have an odor, which is probably why the deer don't touch them. And they will reseed like crazy too. Snapdragons on the right, and I didn't realize till this year they come in 3 different heights, low, medium, and tall. And I've had snapdragons come back now reseeding, and I didn't realize that they do reseed.
Oh.
So both
Good to know.
zinnias and snapdragons will bloom through October. Another annuals are lantana on the left. In Mexico, they grow like shrubs, really, really tall. And I don't know why they don't like them, they don't really smell, but they won't touch them. And the other plant I really, really like are the verbenas. Usually you see verbenas in flower arrangements.
Yeah, or pot,
I put them in as a ground cover.
oh, okay.
You know, I thought about it and they kind of branch out. They have like long stems. That's why they like them in flower pots because they drape down.
Mm,
But I put them in the front of the bed like as a ground cover for the summer. And I did go to Namke in West Stockbridge
oh, okay.
and they had done that too.
Oh,
So yay. But
So lantana in the south grows, it's perennial and like we used to have in Austin, it would just grow wild.
yes,
It's wonderful.
yes,
So
yes.
it's perennial here's to.
It's annual.
It's annual.
Yeah.
And you'll need a shovel to dig it up in the fall.
oh, wow, so
Yeah.
it's.
It grows kind of shrubby. I mean, I have in the flower pot in front of my garage and I have it in a couple places in the garden. And where I live now, I don't have a deer problem, but I like the plants and I love verbena. Verbena, you really don't have to deadhead too much. You know, you're not gonna be a slave to these gardens. You just wanna enjoy what they look like. The other things, if you have shade or partial shade, are ferns, and there's so many different varieties. Japanese painted ferns will spread. Ostrich ferns, if you don't watch out, they'll take over. They get runners and they will spread. It's great if you want to have a place where you want to fill in, but be advised that they will become a little bit invasive.
I'm gonna ask a question. Are any of these considered they're not considered invasive. These aren't, but
Maybe the ostrich ferns, maybe.
because we've got them in our house and they just like, they're incredible.
Yeah.
They're just they're so scary. They grow so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. And then the fern on the left, the Japanese painted fern, there's another one called a ghost fern. It's the same family, but it does not have the pink in the stem. And Japanese painted ferns are wider and bushier. Ghost ferns are more vertical and just completely gray. The fern on the right, the Christmas fern, is in the woods. I've dug up some from the woods, put in my garden. Cinnamon fern, I haven't seen too many of those. They're probably native ferns in the woods. But the deer don't touch them in the woods. They're not going to touch them in your garden. Now for the herbs, I got like carried away when I lived in Clinton with the herbs. So I have a lot of herbs and I have an herb garden in my house now, Livingston. The herbs on the left, the variegated Calaminta. This is a mint, but it's advertised as a mint that behaves.
Oh, okay, they're not thugs.
No, normally mints have runners and they spread like crazy. The Calaminta, and it's hard to find them. I used to find them at Grandiflora, but now that's closed.
Yeah.
They're like little mini spirea bushes.
Oh,
No, they're only like 4 inches tall
yeah.
and they're a mound. So they don't
I've never seen that.
they don't spread. You know, they're like a
Haven't seen it.
plant, like here
Yeah.
and then there. I mean, they never spread.
Yeah, yeah,
And so they do behave themselves. They stay in their right lane and they don't cross the lines.
yeah, yeah.
And then like with oregano, there's yellow oregano. I have that, it has a little bit different color. I have it next to lavender. There's oregano that's green leaved. The sages again come in 3 different colors.
Mm.
And you can, the thing about the herbs are, most of them are culinary. You know, usually with herbs, they're medicinal, aromatic, or culinary. So it's a win-win if you have herbs because you're going to use them for cooking. And with dill, I use the fern leaf dill because it's shorter. It's not as tall as the other dill because where I live, it's very windy.
Mm.
And dill and parsley and rue are the food sources for the caterpillar that will turn into the swallowtail butterfly. So every year I put parsley and dill in my herb garden so I can have the caterpillars that turn into swallowtails as a food source for them. For perennials, Yarrow is on the left and it comes in all different colors. Yarrow is also wild. Normally wild yarrow is white.
That's all I've seen.
Mums are on the right and they all come in different colors. Years ago, I went to a talk at the Cooperative Extension that the Master Gardeners had.
Mm.
And they said with the herbs, except the annual herbs, with the perennial herbs and the mums, don't cut them back until the spring.
Oh, okay.
So I let these stay, you know, the snow falls on
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
And they spread. I had a little tiny pot and now
Yeah.
my thing is like this. It's
Yeah.
huge. So, you know, you don't have to do all the cleanup in the fall. The ornamental grasses too and butterfly bushes you cut back in the spring.
Hmm.
But these you would cut back in the spring too, along with the herbs. And this year as an experiment, I didn't cut my lavender back. And it looked perfectly fine. It looked kind of yucky for a while, but then the leaves turned gray and looked healthy and it looked fine. So for perennials, Coreopsis or Tixie is on the left. And it comes in different color flowers. The examples I have here, the leaves are needle-like, very fine needle-like. There's also Coreopsis that have more lancet-like leaves, but they come in a variety of colors. You can deadhead them and they'll keep flowering even though they're a perennial. And butterfly milkweed is a favorite of many people because it's specific for butterflies. It doesn't flower that long, maybe 10 days or 2 weeks. And then another favorite of mine are the ornamental grasses. And there's so many varieties, there's so many choices. The grass on the top left, the Hakone grass, is shade grass. And it's very low, it's maybe 6 or 8 inches, something like that, not very tall. The blue fescue is again a short grass, it's used a lot in landscape design. This is a taller grass, maybe 3 to 4 feet, it's a zebra grass. And a favorite of mine is little blue stem. That's a native grass and it only grows maybe, I don't know, 2 feet tall. And in the fall, the tops of the foliage turn a pinkish color. And it's a great filler in, it's very bushy. There is a taller big blue stem, but it's probably as tall as these bookshelves, maybe 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
And then ground covers, you can have myrtle, which is on the left, or lamium, and there's 2 different types of lamium. Lamium in the spring with those little pink flowers, that's one of the first things the hummingbirds eat when they come back during the spring. And they grow, they spread. Both of these ground covers will spread pretty quickly. Other shady kind of ground covers are ajuga, which is over here. And I will say this is one of my many gardening mistakes.
Yeah, it's all over my lawn.
Yes, exactly. So, in my non-educated exuberance here in Clinton, I thought, oh, it's so beautiful. So I bought it. And next thing I know, it's all over the lawn and it has stalky flowers. And not only did I buy this kind, I bought green leaf one and another one. I was like, anytime someone wants ajuga, I say no. But some people may want it to fill in a space and it's away from a lawn, that'd be okay. The middle photo is sweet woodruff, which is really a herb. This does spread quite a bit.
Yeah.
You have this too?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does spread. But again, if it's a spot where you don't care if it's spread, it's okay. You know, it fills in a space, you're not mowing the lawn. And then the other is lilies of the valley, and they will spread quite a bit too.
Yeah. I tried the pink lily of the valley and it's not as hardy as the white.
I think sometimes when things are hybrid, they aren't. And then with let's see if I can go back here.
It's in a similar vein.
Okay, so with the variegated leaves with the calaminta, my colleague at the Cooperative Extension told me this. Sometimes with hybrids or variegation, it's a hybrid. It will revert back to just plain green.
Yeah.
So I've had calaminta for 14 years. Almost all of mine just had plain green foliage now. So that does happen. Okay. And then for shrubs, okay, the shrub on the left, Carolina spice bush is, do you have any of these?
No,
Hi, how are you?
Okay, sorry.
Carolina spice bush is blooming maybe in June. It has those little reddish brown flowers and it has a nice little odor to it. That grows in partial shade or it can grow in full sun. Boxwood comes either in variegated or just plain green. And boxwood's supposed to have an odor, but I don't really, I can never smell an odor
Oh.
of boxwood.
no.
And some more shrubs are potentilla is on the left, top left, and that comes in yellow or orange flowers. Butterfly bush or spireas. There's two different spireas here. This is the normal spirea that everybody sees usually, and you can deadhead the flowers and they'll bloom again. The other spirea, this one, Caryopteris or blue mist spirea, that's stunning. It will be at garden centers in another month. It's usually August and September. And it's, do you have one of those? No. No,
Yeah, I don't have it either.
it's usually that brilliant blue color. I have seen some kind of lavender, but I really like them. And the first time I had it, someone gave it to me as a gift, and I had it for 4 or 5 years and it died. And then I asked one of my friends who does a lot of landscaping, and she said, well, it's really zone 6, not zone 5.
Oh, okay.
But we are now zone 6.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've had 2 in Livingston, and one died and one didn't. So I moved them next to either a fence. I have one next to a fence that faces the south, and the other one next to the house facing the south. So they're kind of protected from winter winds.
Yeah.
And the difference between this spirea, you don't really have to prune it too much except for shaping it. The blue mist spirea, the Caryopteris, in March, like early March, you cut it down to the ground,
Really?
just like a butterfly bush. Totally different than the other spirea. And I was questioning that, but I do it every year and they get huge branches and they look great
The one with the purple flowers?
Yeah.
Cut down to the ground?
in the spring. Like end of February, beginning of March, early.
Mm, yeah.
This isn't shade tolerant, is it?
It could be
Really?
partial shade. I mean, mine are, both of them are in partial shade.
Yeah. I have a lot of that in the front of the house, which only gets morning sun.
Yeah,
My spirea
Mine-
is
Mine is
just
like,
big,
it's all over the place. I can't get rid of it.
it's spread.
Yeah. I put it as a little,
As a hedge.
as a hedge, planted like 3 of them, maybe 4. And all of a sudden I have them on one side garden, then I found them on the south side. They definitely spread. And they're very hard. I can't dig them up.
Wait, it's the smaller one or not the blue one?
The smaller,
Okay.
I can't dig them up.
Oh,
It's.
Okay.
it's-
You know somebody that has a backhoe or.
I need,
I mean, sometimes you do have to do that.
yeah.
You know, and I. Like the ornamental grasses, I like them, but they really get tenacious roots. And
Yeah.
they're really difficult to dig up, you know.
Yeah.
What I usually try to do, since with the ornamental grasses, you cut them back in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
So when the ground is soft, when we've had a lot of rain in April,
Mm.
that's when I try to divide them because
Yeah.
the ground is so much soft.
Yeah.
But they're really deep
Yeah,
roots
yeah.
and difficult to move.
so when you divide them, what do you do with yours?
Give them to people.
Okay.
If you go sell them at the garden.
Well, if you
Love
go
to.
on Route 199 towards the triangle in Rock City, there's some very nicely shaped white pine trees,
Mm.
and there's variegated yellow grasses that I gave to Steve.
Yeah.
They're beautiful there. I mean, they're behind
Steve's
boulders.
getting all your leftovers.
Well, no, and a few this year, I had to fill in a spot in the top of a bank in my garden, way up towards the back of the garden, so I put some back up there. And you do get volunteers, like with the butterfly bushes and even Rose of Sharon bushes, I've gotten
Yeah,
volunteers.
Rose Sharon.
Yeah. All right, so fencing. Well, there's different thoughts on fencing. So you could buy the netting fencing And it does have to be 8 foot, and the only reason I know that is one of the master gardeners worked on an estate in Pauling, and they had a 7 foot fence around the estate and the deer jumped it. So I guess their limit is really 8 foot.
What they say, if you have two short ones that they can't
Yeah, I'll get
leap,
there.
oh, excuse me.
That's what that'll be on another slide very soon. So if you want
Yeah.
something more permanent, that's sturdier, that would also keep the woodchucks and the rabbits
Yeah.
out,
Hmm,
you would have to put wire fencing in and make it more solid.
Yeah.
A more established protection against your garden. So what you're talking about is this. So apparently deer have problems with depth perception. And I thought this was baloney, to tell you the truth. So if you have two parallel lines, we did it at the cooperative extension with clotheslines with strips of sheet dipped in sulfur. And I also looked at a field in Stamfordville, it was a commercial pumpkin patch. And it was way far from Route 82 in a big multi-acre field, and there were deer to go in there and they never touched the pumpkins. They had electric wire and they had the two parallel lines. Now, the good part about this type of fencing with a little, you know, this one that you have here, you could either do permanent, but if you wanted to do it just for the season, this comes out of the ground. You just stick the stake in the ground,
Mm.
run the wire through. So when it's October, you can take all the stakes out and roll up the wire so you don't have to look at it all winter long. Or if you decide the following year you're going to change what you want to have fenced in, it's more flexible. The one with the post is more standard color.
Mm.
And I do have information for links on that on the information sheet I'm giving out. So with the wire comes in a big roll. I would suggest if you're going to do this is get a solar charger. You know, they're like a size of a 8.5 by 11, like a piece of computer paper. They're very easy to hook up. We had them when I had temporary lines for the horses on one of the lawns when I had horses in Clinton. I used these and just stuck wire through and it was charged and they respected it, even the pony. So this again, it's not permanent. You know, you can always take the charger in the winter time and roll up the wire and reuse it. It's always a different choice. Or Sisters Hill CSA in Stanfordville.
Yeah.
They do this. They talk to the master gardeners about it. The Native Americans, when they planted corn, and you can see it in this slide here, this is corn, they planted squash around the corn. This is a more mature look to it. The squash vines are prickly, and the deer don't like their ankles being touched by the prickly vine. So this is another thing, if you want to do fencing, this is another choice. If you do vegetables, you could try this. Just to go back to this other slide. This is great for deer, but obviously it wouldn't take woodchucks or rabbits out.
Right.
So. So to summarize everything, nothing's really absolutely effective. If you're gonna spray, read the directions, it sprays a lot, you're gonna have to reapply whatever you're spraying with. Odor-based repellents, just like the herbs and some of the plants that have odors are your most successful one. And sulfur, they really don't like sulfur. Which I think the Cleome plant is the one that smells like sulfur. And
How does that come,
Cleome,
the sulfur?
you can get it at a garden center, you'd have to read and see which one you can get. Or you could, there should be different choices. Sometimes they come already prepared or they're in concentrate, you do directions and you put them in a spray bottle. And some people want to do noise control, but that would just annoy you and your neighbors. And when you're looking online for anything, say you want to look at black-eyed Susans, why do they have spots on their leaves? When you put in your search in Google or whatever you're using, do comma, edu or org. Because you're more likely to get a land grant university like Purdue or Ohio State or Cornell. And you get more reputable sources. Sure.
My neighbor swears by Irish Spring soap.
I had that too, and there was two things for that. I used to put it out, and it was disappearing. And I was like, it didn't rain. I was like, how could that be? And I had the most wonderful dog named Amos, who was Airedale Golden Retriever, it was a big dog. And one day I caught Amos eating the Irish Spring.
Eating it.
Yeah, he was a character. So, and then also when it rains, and then Milorganite, there was one guy who had Milorganite,
Mm,
and he was in your neck of the woods, and I think he had a rhododendron. And he said, I use Milorganite, and I could see this huge pile of Milorganite around the base of the plant. Every single leaf was missing from the plant.
oh, too
And I
much.
said, no, I said, I think you need to try something else. It
Yeah.
didn't work. You need to either fence this or spray, just spreading the Milorganite on the ground. He didn't want to spray, so maybe the better choice would have been fencing the plant.
So why did the Milorganite cause the leaves to drop?
They didn't, the deer ate the leaves.
Oh.
So he used the
Okay.
Milorganite as a deterrent and it didn't work. It didn't deter the deer from eating the leaves. So it's trial and error. The things that I suggested are plants that I found are most successful. And let's face it, when it's May through October, you do want to have annuals. Either in pots or in your garden. So you want to have a color, and it's very discouraging to have plants and you've invested time and money to plant them and water them. And you come out one morning.
And they're gone.
Exactly.
My beautiful hosta.
Yeah.
Right, for you, I'll go back for this. All right, I had hosta too. And after I chilled out for a while, I started doing some research to figure out what I could fill in.
Japanese painted ferns.
No, well, you could, this is another choice. Let's see. All right, the hosta looked like that. Right, that looks familiar, the one on the right.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see. All right, yeah. This plant on the left, this is called pulmonaria. And it will spread. In April, it gets these little pink and blue flowers. It grows in partial shade. And the Carey Institute had it all on Route 44 in front of the stone wall at Gifford House. And it's deer resistant, they don't like it. So I like it because it's one of the first things that
The blooms.
the blooms, and if the hummingbirds are early, they will go to this. The other one is Brunera Jack Frost on the right.
That's pretty.
And that's another shade plant instead of the hosta.
My first one is winter aconite.
Yeah.
That comes up and
Really
blooms. It blooms in the snow.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Hellebores also, the deer don't bother the
No.
hellebores.
And the only thing about hellebore is they are toxic to dogs and cats. Do you know that? Hellebores bloom like the end of February,
Yeah,
but mine didn't come until April this year, very, very late.
yeah, mine don't come in February.
No.
Well, because they're on the
Southern
north side.
Dutchess County, they might.
Yeah.
This warmer.
Mine are on the north side of the house, so it's delightful.
But they are, I have them where they're not anywhere near where the dogs and cats. can.
Good point.
Yeah,
You don't have any double fever shade, do you?
no. Just regular fever.
We used to have a lot, I
Oh,
have tons of it. Now I don't have any.
What do you think happened to it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I used to have fever few.
When I
But
moved from Clinton
the
to.
double is almost like a tiny little mum. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to have single ones.
Yeah,
And I can't seem to find anybody that has any.
a double. I don't think I've seen a double.
Oh, yeah.
It used to be when the Carey Institute was affiliated with the New York Botanical Gardens. Every year they had a plant sale in May and they had all these unusual plants. There is a garden center just over the border in Connecticut. And I want to say
Salisbury?
it's something with arrow in the title.
Oh,
And sometimes they'll go to, when they have the garden tours, they'll come and they'll bring some sample plants. Or, what's the name, white something farm. That's in Connecticut. too.
yeah, white flower.
White flower
Yeah.
farm, right. Or you could try, I'm not sure if the feverfew is a native plant. I've gotten plants from Catskill Native Nursery in Homestead. They have the largest selection of native plants, so you could try them. When I moved from Clinton to Livingston, I couldn't find feverfew. I had to plant it by seed,
Yeah,
and you have to do it when it's cold.
and the single just doesn't do anything for me.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. And there's a woman up on Mount Washington, and I think that's the day they have the big church goings on. They have like a flea market. It's I think it's today, and I'm not going, but there was somebody up there that I was talking to, and she lives up there on that road, and she said she had double, but
It's
I
rare,
didn't-
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, Northern Dutchess Botanical, I just read online that they're taking suggestions, like if that's what you want, if you went in there and said, gee, I'm looking for that,
Because they'd be ordering their seeds this
Yeah.
fall.
yeah. Yeah, they'd be able to get it for you.
It's hard, there used to be a lot more garden centers around here. And a few years ago, I was looking for specific plants and I went to the garden, a Phantom Gardener for the previous owner.
Mm.
And he said, people move in this area, they look at House Beautiful or Martha Stewart, and they
Yeah.
want the regular rhododendrons, azaleas, whatever. Things like, people like you, that want these odd things.
Yeah.
He wouldn't buy that because at the end of the season, he eats the cost.
Mm.
Whereas if you're a box store like Lowe's or Home Depot, if there's plants left over at the end of the season, it belongs to the corporation, not to a private business entity. So sometimes you have to search around or call. The other place that's good too is Stories up in Greenville in Greene County. It's behind Catskill. You take Route 23 past Catskill. Stories, it's Story, just like a story. And they have a huge nursery there. They do commercial tree and shrubs for large landowners or property owners, but they also have a great garden store, lots of plants, lots of house plants. They might have something like that too. It's a little bit unusual. Anybody else, any other questions?
Plants changing, or the kind of plants in our climate is changing, because it's gotten hotter. And it's becoming more like, not Texas hot, but it was Texas hot this past summer. It was
Really?
bad. Yeah, it was
Oh,
bad,
wow.
it was bad.
Okay.
It stays that way in Texas like for months, not just days, but I've, like, some of the plants that are up here cannot survive in that, if we get longer days.
Well, there's like last year in 2024. I think it rained a lot in the spring. Then when it got to be June, those 2 years ago, in 2023, when it rained a lot in the spring up until May, and it stopped raining. We had no rain all summer, none, zero. And all the lilacs were losing their leaves during the summer. June, July, August, and September, they were losing their leaves. But then it started raining in September, like mid-September, the end of September, and the lilacs started blooming.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right, they didn't bloom in the spring.
Yeah, I remember that.
So their natural blooming session got changed, but the following year they did what they normally did.
Mm.
Then a few years ago, must have been 10, I was still working for the Cooperative Extension. In January, we had a few days of 70-degree weather.
Mm.
So spring comes, plants that normally flower like irises, lilacs, spirea, other flowering plants that are perennials or shrubs weren't flowering. When I looked up the reason why, plants have to have a specific time of dormancy. And if it's cut short by 2 hot days in the middle of the winter, it sets that cycle off. So as far as, the only thing I've noticed this year is some of my perennials are blooming a month earlier.
Mm.
I have
Because
something,
of the warm winter.
yeah, I have something called sneezeweed that looks like a little daisy. They're usually orange or yellow. They come in August, the end of August. They're blooming now. And this is the beginning of August. And it seemed that Rose of Sharon were blooming early this year too.
Just started.
Yeah, mine have been out for
But I
like
have
2
no
weeks.
idea.
Yeah. So I don't know. The only other thing as far as the plants blooming sooner, I went to a talk a year ago at another library, and Audubon group from Columbia County put it on. And because it's hotter sooner in the spring, it's affecting the birds who migrate here. Because by the time they come up here in spring, flowers and insects they would normally eat have already come and died.
Oh,
So by the time they get up here, it's altered what their available food source is. Not good.
Do you have any idea why some forsythia didn't bloom at all this year?
Yeah.
Joanne Keeler's didn't bloom. Mine didn't bloom, and I go along the road and people's forsythia was gorgeous. And I didn't have any flowers and Joanne didn't have any flowers.
That happens like a friend of mine's property. He has some that look great and about 25 feet away, the other ones that are blue. If you prune them at the wrong time of the year, they don't flower. So if you happen to, the branches are annoying you in this time of the year and you prune them, they won't flower. They flower on the whole bush.
So you have to cut them in spring.
I think so.
but that's when they bloom.
After they.
After they bloom.
And then my sister lives north of Syracuse. She's in Oswego County. She's zone 4.
Mm.
Forsythia doesn't bloom up there because it's too cold.
Mm.
So there's either environmental factors or man-made factors that keep them from blooming.
Yes.
After the flowers are done.
Any other questions?
Your next one is on alternatives to lawns, is that the one?
Yeah.
And then the third one is invasives, so we're going to. be
Oh,
doing-
okay,
And then that's
Every
every other week,
every
so 2 weeks will be the alternative to lawns.
okay.
And then 2 weeks after that. will be
All right.
invasives.
So when you do that poster, then I can forward it to the garden club.
And what time do you start?
11,
11, doesn't say.
it doesn't?
No,
Oh,
I don't think so.
no,
No.
we fixed that up yesterday, well,
No.
we're getting used to doing this, so we'll get better.
No, the date and the free and.
Yeah,
but,
I'm
where it
sorry.
is, but. the
Well, I saw
time is
that.
on.
Well, I saw it on your website.
Yeah, but
Well,
Amy
I don't
fixed
have a
that.
computer.
Amy did
Okay.
that flyer yesterday and we forgot
Yeah.
to put the time and date or the time on that flyer. We were so,
Okay.
that's okay, we'll get it. It's been a weird week. But I'm so glad you did great.
And in 2
Thank you,
weeks.
yes.
You're welcome.
All right,
Now, my yarrow didn't, I've got, a lot of milkweed came up
Yes, me too, everywhere,
everywhere.
everywhere.
I don't know where it came from.